Hey everybody, Jim here with a review of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Yes, after all the years of trying to get this thing made, it's finally coming to theaters. So how is it? Well, let's just say that Peter Jackson's fourth trip to Middle-earth can't quite recapture the greatness, emotional impact, or charm of his Lord of the Rings trilogy, but there's still a lot to enjoy about The Hobbit. Most of you know the plot, so let's just recap it real quick. Bilbo Baggins, a comfort-loving hobbit, joins Gandalf the Grey and 13 dwarves on their dangerous quest to reclaim their homeland and their treasure from Smaug the Dragon. Jackson and his co-screenwriters, which include Guillermo del Toro, pad out this first installment in what is a rather slender kids' book with supplemental material taken from Tolkien's other works. The Hobbit ends up running a staggering 160 minutes, but unlike the Lord of the Rings films, it really takes about an hour for anything to really kick in. Once the quest proper begins, though, The Hobbit, like the book, becomes a nearly relentless series of chase scenes and action episodes. Along their way, they run into pretty much every kind of creature and race that you can imagine in Middle-earth. The problem is, a lot of these creatures are all CGI creations. Remember how in the Lord of the Rings films all the orcs and goblins were guys in makeup? They actually had a sense of presence to them. All these CGI creatures just kind of make you feel like you're in Narnia than a Lord of the Rings film. Of course, the only CGI character that really does work is Gollum. Gollum in Bilbo's Game of Riddles is a nice piece of character interaction that re-energizes the story in between battles. As for the movie's real characters, this really is Martin Freeman, Ian McKellen, and Richard Armitage's show, and they don't disappoint. Freeman makes for a wonderful Bilbo, even if he can't quite single-handedly outcharm the original trilogy's four hobbits. Still, he brings a warmth, wit, and a humanity to the whole affair. McKellen is as regal and coy as ever as Gandalf, while Armitage captures the bitterness and drive of the rather cold fish that is Thorin Oakenshield, the dwarves' leader. The rest of the dwarves are essentially sight gags. It's understandable given so many characters that some of them would get lost in the shuffle, but you really don't care as much about all these characters as much as you did about the Fellowship by the end of the first Lord of the Rings film. Now, we're reviewing the movie as a 24 frames experience since that's the one most of you will see it in. If you choose to see it in either 3D or 48 frames per second, it's really not worth paying the higher ticket price. It doesn't add enough to the experience. In fact, at times it detracts from it. I would, however, be curious to see The Hobbit in IMAX. That might be an ideal format for this oversized saga. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey almost attains greatness. Despite so many moments of epic fun, greatness remains just out of its reach. The Hobbit is a very good and entertaining movie, even if it never quite recaptures the charm, the awe, or the mystique of the Lord of the Rings films. Still, we eagerly await seeing the next two installments in the trilogy, and so should you. IGN is giving The Hobbit a 7.9 out of 10.